On today's show, we have Eric Bach from the Fredericksburg Nationals, the play-by-play man. And of course, if you haven't been paying attention, you have to, because I can tell you about one guy in particular. The name, Travis Sykora.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And of course, you can check us out over on YouTube. Just search Locked On Nationals. And of course, wherever you get your podcast, again, search Locked On Nationals. That is where you'll find your daily coverage of the Washington Nationals and as well as their minor league affiliates like the Fredericksburg Nationals. Today, as we have Eric Bach over from the Fredericksburg Nats, or the FredNats, whatever you want to call them. But Eric Bach has been doing the play-by-play for them for about 3 years now, Eric. Is that correct?
Yep, season number 3.
Season number 3. So, of course, Eric, we always appreciate the time, man.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Dog days of summer here, but it's always good to be talking ball with you guys. So thanks for having me on.
Of course. So, Eric, let's get it started here. But as we've kind of been talking about, we talked about this a little bit before the show started. You just got to call a no-hitter, and perfect game, really, through 6 innings with Travis Sykora, and the final 3 innings were finished off by the FredNats. But what was that like, kind of getting to call a no-hitter? I mean, as a play-by-play guy, I don't get to do this. Obviously, this is your job. What was it like to call a no-hitter?
It was awesome. So we actually came within 1 out and 1 strike of a no-hitter a few weeks ago in another one of Sykora's starts back in July. And with 2 outs and 2 strikes in the 9th, we lost the no-hitter. So we had all kind of been there before, like not that long ago. So at least it wasn't like, for me as the play-by-play guy, it wasn't like a totally new feeling of like, oh my God, this could happen, because we had just been through it and unfortunately lost it. But this time they got the job done. It was surreal. You know, I'd never seen one in person. You know, no hitters are something that has always just been a TV thing for me. So it was cool to experience one right in the middle of it, you know?
Yeah, and it was really cool. I actually got to watch final few outs there on minor league baseball TV, and it was just a really cool thing. And it started off with one of the Nationals' better prospects this year, and this is who we're going to be talking about for the first 10 minutes or so, Eric. Travis Sykora, the 3rd-round pick out of high school from Texas this last year. I mean, he's got a fastball that can touch 100. He's got a really filthy slider. He's got a really nice splitter, a real advanced splitter for someone who just turned 20 years old a few months back. I mean, what can you tell us about this kid, Travis Sykora?
He's unreal. Like, he's not – obviously, you guys have seen the results recently that they've just been eye-popping numbers, and the numbers are great. But he has now gotten to a point where he's figuring out, like, oh, I can toy with these hitters. Like, he's so advanced for 20 years old. He thinks about the game like a major league pitcher. That's the thing that impresses me the most about him, is just his approach, his preparation, and just how he attacks pitching and how he makes pitching just the center of his universe. And he's one of a kind. He's unlike any other pitcher I've ever been around or covered in my professional broadcasting career. I mean, he is special for sure.
Yeah, like kind of when going into this season, I mean, when it came to Sykora, we all knew that last year coming into the draft that he was a 1st-round talent, and I'm sure you've covered him over the last year. He did not pitch in Fredericksburg at all last year, did not even pitch in rookie ball, came on the scene this season. And so far, I mean, as you were saying, his walk rate is incredibly low. His strikeout rate is incredibly high. The advanced stuff that you see from when he really started this year as a 19-year-old, I believe for the first 2 starts or so of the season, he was 19 years old. And he did kind of have some, like, not like crazy struggles early on, but like he wasn't as dominant as he is right now. So what have you kind of seen? Has this just been the work of the coaching staff and just kind of have him prepared to take that next step in his really development so far?
Yeah, he turned 20 2 days before his pro debut. So he technically has been 20 the entire time, but the evolution from from May 1st when he debuted to today, August 12th or whatever day it is, our pitching coach, Justin Lord in Fredericksburg, has done an amazing job with Harleen Susana. I mean, if you go back, we had Eddie Longos, the Nats director of player development, on our pregame show this past week when he was in town watching the FredNats, and we talked about Susana. And Eddie's first comment about that was, "I give all the credit to the staff here in Fredericksburg that they have really helped Susana along in his development as a pitcher." Everybody knows about, his arm talent and all that stuff. And same deal with Sykora. I mean, Sykora has had, coming into pro ball, had his own very regimented routine to get his body ready, to get, his mind ready, to scout the other teams. And I think combining, the Nationals have allowed him to be comfortable to do his own thing while also impressing their stuff upon him. And I think the combo of Sykora already being super advanced himself, coupled with the great coaching that he's getting from the Nationals, and the blend of that is what we're seeing right now. I mean, this is a guy that is so advanced himself, and now he's taken just huge, like exponential leaps when he has these resources of the Nationals around him every day.
Yeah, and like the first 10 minutes, we're talking about Travis Sykora, but you mentioned someone with Harleen Susana who started the year in Fredericksburg, and he really struggled for the first portion of the season, but took off completely. And ever since then, he has not looked back. He's been one of the Nationals' better arms right behind Travis Sykora. And you got to see them both up front, personal, nearly every single day, preparing. Justin Lord is the pitching coach for the FredNats, and there's got to be something there. I don't know what kind of potion he's been giving those guys, but they have just absolutely turned it around this season. I mean, Travis Sykora, this is his first full minor league season, of course, but Susana last year, he did struggle a little bit. Again, this kid's young, 19, 20 years old. Sykora, same boat as him. So you've seen it up front and personal, but I really want to hone in on Travis Sykora here because he has been one of those guys. And of course, you saw Susana as well. You saw the development of him kind of struggling and then really taking off. But with Sykora, what have you seen? Like, what is like his big, like, what is your big takeaway from him? Like, what is a pitch that you can see and it's like, this thing is going to translate to the major league level? Because we've heard about the splitter, you hear about the high 90s fastball, but what is the pitch that you really look at and you're like, this is going to be his specialty up in the bigs?
It's the blend of the three of them, because last week in Lynchburg, we were on the road. He won his first Carolina League Pitcher of the Week, 5 hitless innings, and he faced the minimum. He's not right now working on an 11-inning scoreless streak. He's working on an 11-inning hitless streak. Yeah. Like he's faced the minimum batters in 11 innings in his last 2 starts. So for me, he threw the splitter in that Lynchburg start like 30% of the time, which is way, way more than he has thrown it all season. Usually it's between like 7 and 10% usage rate with the splitter, but he'd faced the Hillcats before. He knew that, okay, they're probably going to be sitting slider. So I'm going to throw 100 splitters, and look what happened. I mean, but for me, the thing that sets him apart is he changes his look all the time. Like sometimes he'll quick pitch. Sometimes he'll rock a little bit more in his delivery. Sometimes he'll work from a full line. Sometimes he'll work from the stretch with nobody on base. Like there's not he repeats his mechanics, which is obviously so important, but the rest of it is always moving and changing. It's a 6'7" dude with long limbs coming downhill. And if that look is constantly changing for a hitter, it just makes it that much more difficult to hit. That's even before you get to the stuff, the mid to upper 90s fastball, the devastating slider. And then obviously the splitter, when he showed up, it was the reports were that the splitter was the pitch that had the furthest to go. And the improvement in that pitch from May 1st to today is incredible. And he uses it in whatever count he wants. He throws the slider in whatever count. Obviously, he can locate the fastball. I mean, he really is the real deal. And the fact that the Nationals got him in the 3rd round is like unreal to me.
Yeah. I mean, again, like he was kind of one of those first-round talents, and the Nationals did sign him to an above slot there. But, I mean, we had to spend 10 minutes talking about Travis Sykora. Obviously, there's a lot of other big names as well. Cristhian Vaquero, Elijah Green that we're going to be getting into right here in the second segment. But real quick, Eric, like, you've seen both Susana and Sykora. I'm not going to pin the two together and be like, which one will be better, but which one have you been more impressed with so far?
Their stories are so different, right? Susana obviously grew up in the DR, was part of that big Soto deal, didn't grow up around the same baseball culture that Sykora did. I mean, Sykora went to the Texas Baseball Ranch. He's got lots of these, like, not crazy, but just so intricate routines that he's been doing for such a long time. And Susana's obviously got more natural physical talent. And now you're seeing him figuring out how to become a pitcher. You always hear Justin Lord say that. We got to teach this guy not to be a thrower, but a pitcher. And here we are. I mean, he's becoming a pitcher now and dominated in Fredericksburg, obviously earned the promotion to Wilmington, dominating in Wilmington now. Sykora, to me, is more polished. Susana's got, the probably higher physical ceiling, but Sykora's tools that he has built himself. I mean, he has put so many tools in his toolbox himself. That's what impresses me the most about him.
And those are awesome answers. Harleen Susana has been tremendous, and as well as Travis Sykora. So it's really cool. You've got to see them both up close and personal all season long. Susana has since got the bump up to high A Wilmington. I want to say, as a Nats fan, let's get Sykora up to high A Wilmington, but you're enjoying your time right now with them.
They've historically been much more aggressive with position players than pitchers as far as quick promotions. And I think that in Sykora's first year, and I don't have any inside information here, this is just my personal conjecture, I think that it would make sense, given the Nationals' pattern, to keep Sykora with Fredericksburg the rest of the season, start him in Wilmington next year, and then next year's the year you push him. He gets 3 or 4 good Wilmington starts under his belt next year, and he'll be in Harrisburg is my guess. And will likely spend most of 2025 with Harrisburg and could push Rochester if he pitches well in Harrisburg like we all expect him to.
Yeah, so you know what? You've been up close and personal with these two guys. So Eric Bach, nobody knows the FredNats better than Eric himself. So let's get into some more of these guys, though. Elijah Green, Cristhian Vaquero, 2 big-time prospects who are still with the FredNats, young kids, first-round talent with Elijah Green, as well as a big signing bonus out of the DR with Vaquero. So we'll discuss those two guys coming up next. But before that, let me tell you guys about some of our very good friends over at Liquid IV. And guys, when you're taking in America's pastime down in Fredericksburg, maybe you forget to hydrate. Well, if you do, grab some Liquid IV. And of course, if you do that, grab their Popsicle Firecracker flavor, a surefire summer hit. You can get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. And of course, Liquid IV, they say it right there. They've got the essential vitamins. You've got the electrolytes. I can tell you this, right before I go to work out, I drink a little Liquid IV. As I come back, I drink a little bit more of it. And I can tell you this, it makes me feel good. And of course, it also tastes good as well. So why don't you guys just try out Liquid IV? But when you do that, there are no more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Now, I'm going to tell you guys about some of our other very good friends over at PrizePicks. And some people ask me, well, what is PrizePicks? I can tell you this. They're a daily fantasy sports platform that offers a pick'em style game for a variety of sports, including the NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, WNBA, esports, and even soccer as well. And the platform is designed to be quick to play and easy to understand, is intended for both casual and diehard sports fans. So maybe like tonight, or tomorrow night rather, when the Nationals are here in town, maybe you want to go more hits on Luis Garcia or even less hits on CJ Abrams, who has been slumping here just a little bit. Well, you can do that with our friends over at PrizePicks. But when you do it, you can go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Now we get back into it with Eric Bach from the Fredericksburg Nats, play-by-play man for them, going to his third season here in Fredericksburg. So, Eric, we just spent 10 minutes talking about Travis Sykora, all the success that he has had. We even mixed in Harleen Susanna in that as well. But a lot of Nationals fans have been frustrated with Elijah Green. You've seen Elijah Green now for the last 2 seasons, and we talked about it a little bit before the show started, but Elijah Green has actually really kind of started to turn around. He has 10 home runs on the season now, and this kid is still young, number one, and number two, he's still filled with talent. So what have you seen from Elijah Green in 2024?
Well, he just hit his 11th home run of the season on Friday night. Since July 1st, he's been one of the best power hitters, not only on this team, but in the Carolina League. I mean, you look at all the metrics since July 1st really love him. I mean, he's got an 838 OPS. He's got a WRC plus of 145 and a WOBA of 397. And you drop those numbers in the league, that puts him in the top 5 pretty much everywhere. So, I mean, his walk rate's at 15% since then. I mean, since July, he really has figured things out. I mean, we talked earlier about Eddie Longnose's interview with us this week. Eddie made the comment that everybody knows that we can drop him in center field in DC right now, and he would be a great major league defensive center fielder. Like that's not any type of question. It's just about cutting down the strikeouts and making sure that he still is not, checking those power boxes. And recently he has been. I mean, 11 homers, the most on the team. He's putting up exit velos in the high triple digits. I mean, obviously there's still too many strikeouts, around 40% strikeout rate still in that time, but a 15% walk rate with power, they're going to be able to live with strikeouts if the power is there, right? It's baseball in the year 2024, 3 true outcomes, right? Strikeout, home run, walk. And if Elijah can get enough power out of that bat, they're going to live with the strikeouts. And the other tools are great. He's just stole his 30th base of the season yesterday. Obviously got the 11 homers. I mentioned all the metrics. I mean, things are really turning up for him at the plate.
I've always said this about Elijah Green too, because I do think people have kind of written him off way too early. Way too
20.
Early. He's 20.
He's 20.
I know. And like the thing is, it's like with Nationals here, for instance, you've seen Juan Soto come up at 19 years old, and that was Juan Soto, obviously. You've seen Bryce Harper come up at 19, 20 years old and make an instant impact. So the Nationals and their fans, I guess you have been spoiled as far as these guys go. And those are generational guys now.
Yeah.
And this is like Elijah Green, though, what I was kind of getting to is I've always said, even with James Wood, Dylan Cruz, in the organization, there is still no one on or in this organization with a higher ceiling than Elijah Green. As you said, Eddie Longo said it the other day. I listened to that broadcast as well. He could be in center field today and be the Nationals' best defensive outfielder. And Jacob Young is great in the outfield. Elijah Green is awesome. I mean, Elijah Green has crazy power, like crazy power. James Wood, it's very comparable to him. Now, where he kind of gets himself in trouble is striking out a lot. So what have you kind of seen to improve, and how has his approach changed so far in 2024 to really improve those numbers since July?
Well, and Eddie said this as well, he's identifying breaking balls better, laying off them more. Obviously, with the 15% walk rate, that's up from where he was. I mean, he's understanding now how people are going to pitch him, right? And obviously, with the high strikeout rate before, everyone was pretty much pitching him similarly, right? Because the results were there. And now I think, he's adjusted to the league, and now the league's going to have to adjust back. And so, baseball is a game of adjusting to the adjustments, right? And he's done it. I mean, his homer the other day was on a breaking ball that went 400 feet. Like, I think he's identifying, one, he's understanding how people are going to pitch him. And two, he's sticking to that plan and simplifying things. I think when he was at his worst, maybe last year or early on this season, it's just the wheels were turning too quick. Because obviously we know that he's got all the talent in the world and all the power in the world. And now I think that things have simplified for him. The game's slowing down a little bit in the batter's box, and the results have spoken for themselves the last 6 weeks or so.
And it's really encouraging to see as well, because again, like I've always said this, his ceiling is, there's not many guys in minor league baseball that has a ceiling of Elijah Green at this point. And that's what the Nationals knew when they took him a few years ago in the top 10 of the MLB draft. But there was someone who signed.
Can I add this one more thing, Ryan? Can I add one more thing about him?
Of course.
We live in this. You mentioned it was a great point about Soto and Harper, Nationals fans being spoiled with those two, maybe two of the top 5 players this century, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe 2 of the top 20 baseball players that have ever lived when it's all said and done, Soto and Harper, right? So obviously the Nationals fans have this perception of what a superstar should be, and it's understandable given that they saw those 2 guys go through their system. Mm-hmm. We live in an instant gratification society, and with a player like Elijah Green, it's just not going to be instant.
Yeah.
He won't be 21 till December. And just like we talked about with Sykora, next year will be the year that he will get pushed. Like, he'll probably, again, no inside information, just my own personal opinion, he'll probably start in Wilmington and be on the same plan as Sykora. A good start, push him on to Harrisburg. Like, next year is the year to push him. And now let him have this success that he's having now this year before we get like too crazy about him.
And those are all great points, Eric. And this is why we have you on and talk about the FredNats. But of course, Cristhian Vaquero is another guy who I do want to fit in here real quick. Again, he was signed back in 2020, 2021 in that international signing bonus to about a $4.9 million deal. They basically used up, the guy's like a first-round talent for people in there. You see it. He's, again, kind of one of those 5-tool guys, but he struggled a little bit early on, 19 years old. What have you seen from Vaquero so far in 2024?
I've seen youth and greenness, right? He's a little bit feast or famine, but when on his good nights, you can see why the Nationals spent that money. Like, as a switch hitter, he comes from an insanely athletic family. His mother was an Olympic swimmer. His father was a professional judo guy. So, like, talk about the most, like, insane athlete. A switch hitter that he leads one part of his game that people don't talk about. He leads the Carolina League in outfield assists this season. Like this dude has a plus arm, plus speed, and it's for him. It's kind of the same deal as Green. Just got to keep him in the zone and put the bat to ball a little bit more. I mean, he actually, on the night that Sykora led the no-hitter, Vaquero and Green both homered in the game. So it was like a showcase of Nationals prospects with Fredericksburg. But he plays A-plus defense at all 3 outfield positions. He's got 25-plus stolen bases, and it only has been caught 2 or 3 times the entire season. And when he can unlock that power, it's eye-popping from both sides. He's got 6 homers this year, 3 from each side of the plate. Like, he hits for power against left-handed pitching as a right-handed hitter, and he's a natural right-handed hitter. And the next step for him is to just get the bat to ball a little bit more from the left side, because he's going to see a lot of right-handed pitching moving up this system. So, I mean, he's one of those guys that, if you see him for the first time, you go, wow, who is that dude? And like, where did he come from?
That is all great points. And now I do want to get into a little bit of a sleeper prospect, Eric, for you guys. As you know, the Nationals, they've got one of the top farm systems in all of baseball. You have seen James Wood. You've seen Dylan Cruz, Travis Sykora, Harleen Suzanne. You've seen all of the guys who, some of them who are now making an impact at the major league level, and some guys who are just knocking on the door of making an impact at the major league level. But before we get into a sleeper prospect, I'm going to tell you guys about our friends over at Ibotta. And of course, sandals, sunscreen, snacks are for the kids. But what do these have in common? You're probably buying a ton again this summer, but don't stress about the cost. Use Ibotta and get cash back on all of your purchases when you stock up on all of your summer essentials. And of course, it's summertime, which means it's barbecue season. Stock up on the grilling favorites, and you can earn cash back on every purchase when you use Ibotta. And of course, you might ask, What is Ibotta? Well, Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Now, I'm going to tell you guys about our friends over at eBay Motors, and there's passion, drive, and patience. The formula is, of course, for winning championships. It also is what keeps your ride or die alive at eBay Motors. And eBay Motors is everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance: superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're running rubber, not cash. And with all the parts you need at the price you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep a ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Now we get back into it with Eric Bach from play-by-play man for the Fredericksburg Nationals. And we just talked about a lot of big names, guys that you have seen, guys you've seen fly up the system. But now let's kind of get into someone who maybe isn't in the national spotlight as far as prospects go. Because, again, you guys have seen a ton of talent go through that FredNats system there. So who is someone that we may not be talking enough about, but who should we be talking about moving forward that we may not know?
Are you talking about a current FredNat or somebody that I've just seen in the last 3 years?
Why not both? Why not both?
Okay. Well, Dalen Lyle's my guy. I mean,
Yep.
he was a 2023 FredNat and dominated the league before he was promoted in July, and he's been doing well in Harrisburg. He was the Nationals Organizational Hitter of the Month for July in Harrisburg. He's got all the tools: power, speed, defense, base running, left-handed swinging outfielder. Drafted in the second round. It was he and Brady House were the first two picks in 2021, and he missed all of 22 because of Tommy John. So last year was really his first year to show himself, and he obviously did great, having another great season this year in Harrisburg. But as far as current FredNats go, I have two. One who is in the top 30 on MLB Pipeline, but people don't talk about him, is Brenner Cox. Brenner leads the FredNat team in OPS among qualified hitters this season. I mean, that's with all these, with Green, with Vaquero, with all these guys that have been, since promoted. He missed a month. He hurt his thumb in the beginning of June and missed about a month, so that hurt him. But this is a guy that at 18 years old started opening day 2023 in Fredericksburg and really badly struggled. And they sent him back to Florida around Mother's Day 2023, and he spent the rest of the season in the Complex League, came back to Fredericksburg opening day 2024, and has been great. He and Vaquero are actually first and second in the Carolina League in outfield assists as well. I mean, he's a former high school quarterback in the Dallas, Texas area that signed with the Nationals in the fourth round. He had a two-way commitment to Texas to play both baseball and football. So that's the kind of athlete that he is. And he's really figured it out. He had a really great week this past week, hit a homer on Sunday. He's a guy that has really just improved and matured both physically and emotionally this last year. It's just like a night and day difference. And he's a guy that I really personally have a good relationship with. So I'm so glad to see him having success. And a guy that wasn't even drafted at all, Brandon Pimentel. I mean, he leads this Carolina League in RBIs this season. I mean, he is one of the most winning clutch players I've ever seen in the minors. I don't know, given that he's a non-drafted free agent that is essentially free for the Nationals. I mean, you never know where his place is going to be in the organization moving forward. And a lot of that might not have anything to do with him as more as it does other people around him. But he he's been awesome. He's played pretty much every day since opening day, had like 30 RBIs in the month of April alone, and has kept up since then. Those two guys, Pimentel and Brenner Cox, are two guys this year that I've really enjoyed watching in Fredericksburg. And obviously, Dalen Lyle might be lost in the shuffle of all these outfielders that the Nationals all of a sudden have stockpiled. But who knows? Not that I want Dalen to be traded, but maybe next year at the deadline, if the Nationals are on the other side of it, he could potentially be a prime trade piece if the Nationals are buying at next year's deadline, which I think they hope to be.
Yeah, I think so as well. And, you know, it is unfortunate because Dalen Lyle, I love him as well. I mean, I think he's got a really good story, really good player. I got to see him last year in Fredericksburg early on, but he has been awesome. I mean, he's really improved, as you said, down in Double-A. He got promoted from High A Wilmington to Double-A Harrisburg. He had a really good July there, so it was really cool to see. But Dalen Lyle is certainly someone we're keeping an eye on. And Brenner Cox, again, another interesting prospect to keep an eye on as well, and just adds to that Nationals outfield they have down as far as their farm rankings go. So, but Eric, we are out of time today. It's been awesome to catch up with you, but please tell the people where they can find you over on Twitter, where they can find FredNats content, and of course, whatever else you guys have coming up.
One thing that I and we with the FredNats do every week is we do what's called a Walk and Talk Wednesday interview, where I just walk around the warning track with all these guys, and we just shoot the breeze. It's a really good way to get to know these guys in the system. Yohani Morales was just rehabbing with us last week, and he was on with us. You know, those are good things. At FXBGNats on Instagram and Twitter, and my Twitter is at Eric_Bach7. I try to do like 2-ish baseball tweets per week about whatever's going on with the Freddies. So I have some inside information, I suppose. So I guess shoot me a follow.
I think they should as well. So Eric, we always appreciate the time, man. You have a good one. All right.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
No problem. And of course, we will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one.